Emolama, and I'm here with my wife.
Frames by Prachi.
We are here to give introduction to our first video editing class. This is the first class of IGTV. So your feedback is very important for us at this point of time. I'll be in this video showing the basic steps that I use for my editing, and this pic, that the first pic I'm using is of gorgeous model Shalu. Her Insta handle is Shalu by Amolama, and this pic was taken at Lucknow approximately 2 years back. And as you all know that there's the total lockdown, so we thought might as well utilize the time to edit all old pics and also introduce our editing skills to our friends. With this, I come to the first editing step, that is the basic raw editing that I use. First, I open a pic in my raw editor, in which the profile generally I use is the portrait. Oblique, in case it's a landscape photograph, then I use a landscape profile. White balance, I use a custom white balance. More or less, you need to handle this blue and yellow slider. Thereafter, exposure is adjusted. Okay, before I adjust the exposure, I would like to tell one point. I adjust the white point and the black point. Now, how to adjust the white point and the black point is basically hold to your Option or Alt key and get on the slider. The moment you see this white dot appearing, leave it. The moment you go to black slider, reduce it. The moment you see black dot appearing, leave it. So as of now, your white point and your black point has been set. Subsequently, adjust your exposure, contrast, highlight, and shadow. These are the only things that I do out here. Thereafter, in case required, thereafter you go to the tone curves. Thereafter, detailing. Yes, I do adjust the detailing for noise reduction. I prefer to see the image always in 100% zoom. Thereafter, I increase the slider, luminance slider, basically to get rid of any noise in case it is, if it is there any. And thereafter, masking. Yeah, masking again, it is very important. Use your Alt Option key and slide the masking bar till time you find the edges coming up and leave the slider there. At this point in time, only the edges of the pic are getting sharpened and the entire image will not be sharpened. And the rest correction that I do is I use the lens correction, and after I open the image. As of now, the pic has already been opened, and I've already edited the pic, so I'll show you my steps over here. And right, so I'm not used to Mac. This Mac is of my wife. I'm more used to Windows. Okay. Now coming to the steps. Here we come to the basic pick. Now this is the basic pick which we had got after doing the basic raw editing. After the raw editing, we now open duplicate the layer in which we do any sort of editing which requires blemish removal or removal of any mark. In this pic, though there was not much removal required, uh, so we just straight away first went for the frequency separation. In the frequency separation, as you all are aware of, there's a low layer and there's a high layer. Okay. Just to avoid any work going wrong, what I did was to first create a copy of the low layer. Here's a copy of low layer. In this copy of the low layer, what I have done is I have got rid of the marks. Now, how I got rid of the mark is basically by using the patch tool. At times, you might use a reference slider which is called the black and white. Yeah, use a black and white slider to see what are the marks there inside. Reduce the red to minimum and zoom in. Sorry, I are not used to the pic and adjust the yellow slider. Now you'll find all patchwork in case if it is there in this pic. Yeah, there are still a lot of patchwork on this image. The size of the brush. Now to indicate, see there's a patch over here, the patch nose, patch here, this patch over here. So not a very neat work that I have done, in fact, I must say. So to get rid of this, what we can do is now that I already edited, how will I show it again? Use the patch tool. Patch tool select the area, patch area, and replace it by the neighboring area, which doesn't have any patch. So by doing so, you get rid of all the patches. Here we are. This is how we do. Second thing now that I have been using is a technique of using the wet brush. Let me get rid of this black and white layer first. Okay, wet brush. Now, wet brush you'll find in the brushes option. Below the brush option, you'll find sometimes over here, or at times you'll find it over here. No, sorry, you couldn't find it. Okay, here I'll look for it. Over here. Okay, here's the mixer brush. Now, whenever you go to these options, you'll see a lot of custom option: dry, moist, wet, very wet. Now it depends on how much of mixing you require. Dry is the least, and as you keep progressing it, the maximum amount of mixing will take place. So at this point in time, I have taken the wet and wet light mix brush. What I did was, in this layer, I used a patch of the color. Let's say, press the Alt or Option key, press it, and thereafter brush it like so, so that the colors are mixed. The basic aim is to get rid of all the patchwork. In fact, increase the patchwork. Again, I'm not used to Mac. I don't know what are the controls for Mac. Okay, I take this color and gradually mix it. See, so this is the technique by which, now this is done basically to get smooth color tones, even color tones. The transition between the one color to the other color should be very, very gradual, and there should be no patchwork which is there. Again, after doing this step, I made another layer. In this layer, I again did whatever I did was in the first layer. Basically, again enhance the image, and this is what I got the pick after doing a bit more of detailed patchwork and the wet brush. Okay, this is a bank layer. In case required, you can use it. And this you can use a normal brush. In case still if there's any patchwork left, select the color, use opacity 10%. I use opacity overflow. There are other people who use flow or opacity, but my workflow uses a lesser opacity and 100% flow, and then do it like this. Here itself, for those who don't know what is the difference between opacity and flow, probably in subsequent classes I will dwell more about it. So this was basically the efficacy separation. Now so you can see the difference, the amount of patchwork that we have got rid of. Then this pick I did not go for a lot of dodge and burn, because this was more of a not of, you cannot say it's a particular portrait photograph, but it was more of a environmental photograph, scenic photograph. The model or the subject itself was a small part of the entire frame. So I did not go for a dodge and burn in this procedure. I'll deal with the dodge and burn in the subsequent classes. However, we went something which is called luminosity mask. The luminosity mask is becoming more and more popular and very easy to work with. A lot of actions which are available, and I recommend using the actions for luminosity mask, because making luminosity mask is a slightly tedious process. So it is better to go in for the action button. So I used two of these luminosity mask using curves, and the blend mode was changed to screen. Now, blending options. In case anybody wants to understand, they can pick me up. I will definitely make a different video altogether on these blending options. What each blending effect has got to do with the layer down below. Uh, here to show how I have what areas I have selected. The for one first curve one I've used the area over here. I have a curve 2, I have chosen this area. So basically if you see, I have chosen the bright areas of the face wherein I have brightened it more to give more contrast to the image. uh, this here I'd like to bring out that in this curve 1 option, the fill is 100%, or curve 2 where the more part of the face was selected, I've reduced the opacity to 59%, depends from image to image. Thereafter I went for color toning. Color toning I generally do it using the raw filter itself. Like if I open this image, I go to camera, filter, camera raw, filter, and here are the options of
We go to the calibration,
calibration. Basically, we go to the calibration.
and then we go to the blue primaries where we adjust the hue.
Hue, green
Green,
primary, and the red primary.
red primary.
Though I will admit that the red primary is least touched. Red primary I generally touch only when I need to correct the skin color. Thereafter, the HSL, the hue, saturation, and luminance panel. We use this panel.
Luminance, we mostly use the orange color to give luminance to the uh, shade of the skin.
Face. Okay. And
Then we go back to the same.
thereafter, I had copied the image and show what I
It
did
is
was.
always better to copy your image so that the work you have already done does not get spoiled.
Okay, actually, I'm a self-taught person, so I have not taken any classes or any course on Photoshop or photography. So I take a lot of precaution while editing. So I had now duplicated the layer 4, and in this layer, you can see I have done a bit of vignetting. You can see the difference in vignetting in this part, and also the blue color which I've added. Now this blue color and vignetting effect, basically I had used the radial filters and the graduated filters to give the blue shading and the vignetting part of it. And this is my final result. Sorry, I got more steps ahead than most of. Okay, over here, yeah, see over here, I've done more of color toning, and thus I've increased the uh, vibrance. However, I put a mask on the face because in case if I would have not put a mask on the face, the skin would have become totally red. And thereafter, this is the black and white which I read this curve. Now I've introduced this curve. In this curve, what I've done is I have raised the blue levels in the shadow area, and again reduce the blue in the bright areas, which in terms means increasing the yellowish tinge in the bright area.
It is basically playing with colors, the primary colors.
So this is what I had got, and this is what my final result is all about. Again, comparing with the input to what we have got. This is what the result is final. So I wish you would go through the entire video and suggest us any points for improvement, because this being our first video,
IGTV video.
I'll definitely request you all to help me out in improving and betterment of my work. Thank you.
Suggestions are welcome, and thank you so much for supporting.
Thanks. Thank you.